Good evening, you're watching Estuary News. Coming up, we have a look at an unusual addition to a school in Humberston. We have another dog looking for a new home, and tonight's guests are Gavin Hudson and James Bowie from Hull Homeless Outreach. Welcome to Estuary News. I'm Hugh Richards. Time now for the news headlines.
Homicide Police's Crime Commissioner Matthew Grove today opened a new rape support centre in Grimsby. The Blue Door Centre on Victoria Street in the town will be helping deal with problems relating to sexual violence and domestic abuse. The opening was followed by an event showcasing the work undertaken in North East Lincolnshire by children's sexual violence advisors, counsellors, therapists and independent domestic violence advocates. The carcasses of 3 sperm whales that were washed up onto the beaches at Gibraltar Point and Skegness in Lincolnshire were removed by contractors in an overnight operation that lasted several hours. The 3 whales were wrapped in tarpaulin and put onto the backs of lorries to be taken to a landfill site in Sheffield. A school in Humberston has found a unique and cost-effective way to expand space. The Humberston Cloverfields Academy has refurbished a double-decker bus for use as a library on the school grounds. The head teacher told us that more schools should be looking for creative and cost-effective solutions to problems like ageing buildings and overcrowding.
This was £30,000, but compared to the price of a classroom, it's peanuts, and it's so unique. You know, when it was finished, I was really pleased with the finish. We've obviously got air conditioning and heating on it. I think they should, look into it. I mean, we've had mobile buildings here, and they went because they were too old and had difficulties. But it's looking at the uniqueness of it.
A £14 million worker accommodation scheme at Grimsby Hospital is one step closer. Supply company Kia was appointed as a partner to the scheme, which is expected to submit a planning application in the next few weeks, with work starting in the summer. The scheme aims to provide 220 beds for student doctors and nurses, encouraging them to stay in the area. Homicide Police are looking for witnesses after a high-value burglary from an agricultural store in Burstwick. Thieves broke onto the premises early yesterday morning and stole machinery, including leaf blowers, a pneumatic pallet trolley and a moisture analyser alongside a large quantity of red diesel. North East Lincolnshire Council has received funding for its Townscape Heritage project. The council secured £1.9 billion of lottery funding for its Townscape Heritage project, which aims to bring vacant shops back into use, restore architectural features on old buildings and help to work with improvement works to public areas. And that's all for now.
Like many public services, schools are having to deal with a reduction in funding, and at the same time, they're increasingly having to deal with problems such as ageing buildings. Humberston Cloverfields Academy has found an unusual solution to its library problems. Dave Nunn turns the page.
In times when money is tight, places such as schools have to think outside the box on how they can add space. That's what's happened at Humberston Cloverfields Academy, where a double-decker bus is being used as a library.
The bus was made in 1977. It's obviously been decommissioned a long while ago, and we purchased it from a company, and it's been turned into a library for the children. It's a really exciting place to come to read, and it's very, very different. So they're enjoying it, really enjoying it.
For Mrs. Spruce, the inspiration for the library bus came from a TV show which showed people living in places such as buses. With a lot of hard work, fundraising and saving, and a stroke of luck, the school was not only able to find a decommissioned bus, but also a way to refurbish it.
I think possibly I was watching one of these programmes where people live in unusual places on TV, follow quite a lot of those, and a person had made a home in a double-decker bus. And I think the idea just stuck in my head for a little while and then evolved into we could have one of those maybe for a library, which would be a really interesting place for the children to come and read. And went from there for a long time. I didn't think it was going to happen. We found a company that would sell double-decker buses to you. Then you had to do your own refurb. Then I thought, well, I can't start refurbing a bus. Who can? We kind of just kept saving, kept hoping we'd get it. And then, as would happen, a company came, dropped a leaflet in at school that made bookshelves and all sorts of furniture. And on the back of it was, we refurbished double-decker, single-decker buses to turn into libraries. And suddenly it was, yes, so it's going to happen, we're going to have one.
For the pupils at the school, it's a unique place to learn and encourages reading.
Like, it's good in, like, because the idea of a bus was, like, really unique. Instead of, like, just a little library in the school, it was, like made our school unique.
I just couldn't wait to get on the bus and start reading. I just love, like she said, like the uniqueness of having a bus instead of a plain old library. I just couldn't wait to get on and start reading.
In cash-strapped times, schools have had problems with space and overcrowding. Refurbishing and buying the bus costs around £30,000, which works out far less than building a library from scratch. The school also has plans to further upgrade the bus throughout the year.
This was £30,000, but compared to the price of a classroom, it's peanuts, and it's so unique. You know, when it was finished, I was really pleased with the finish. We've obviously got air conditioning and heating on it, so we can use it all through the seasons. We're going forward to put a little bit of a shelter down the side so that when the children are queuing up and it's raining, we're not getting wet. In the summer season, we're going the other side with an awning, lots of seats, so we can sit outside and have little reading circles and groups outside. So we've got plans going forward with it now.
And if you have any news or sports stories for us, or you'd like to appear on our Sofa of News, you can get in touch with us by emailing news@estuary.tv or by calling us on 01472 3155553. My guests tonight come from the Hull Homeless Outreach charity, which goes out on the streets of Hull to help the city's homeless population. The charity now wants our shoes. And to tell us more about the appeal and the charity, Gavin Hudson and James Bowie are with me now. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming in.
Good evening.
First of all, Gavin, why do you want shoes?
We want to try and create an iconic awareness, symbolic gesture of a line of shoes to represent the homeless issue in Hull and surrounding areas. And beyond that, we thought once we're doing that and once we collect them, why not go for something a bit bigger?
And how many shoes do you need to achieve this something that's a bit bigger?
The something that's a bit bigger is a Guinness Book of World Records, which would be amazing. The figure we're looking at is 25,000 shoes, so that's 12,500 pairs of shoes. And
you just line them all up in a sort of a line of soles
Yeah, it's a single continuous line, it has to be. The previous world record holders managed to spell out the word water with this continuous line. So it's not a straight line, but we'll go for something iconic with the laying out of the shoes as well.
And James, where's this going to take place?
We are not sure yet. Gavin is still in discussion with
KC
Stadium and also
the Humber Bridge Board,
in hopes that we could perhaps do it in one of those locations.
How long is a line of 25,000 pairs of shoes, or 25,000 shoes?
It's how long's a piece of rope. It depends on the size of the shoes. Obviously, little children's shoes, it'd be a bit shorter than having clown shoes out there. But it's approximately 2.1 miles. That's why the Humber Bridge would be really iconic.
Well, let's see if there's a logical way of working this out. If you've got 12,000 pairs of shoes, might that in a line be about 12,000 feet?
It is, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right. James, what's this money going to go to? If you raise this money with this record?
Well, it's more about raising awareness to the homeless issues, not just in Hull, but also the whole country. We as an organisation are out in the streets constantly helping the homeless people and trying to raise awareness to their issues and their plight. So any awareness raised or money raised will go a long way to helping us to keep doing the good work and ensuring people survive.
Where will the event be taking place, Gavin?
Again, it's at negotiation stage at the moment. So currently in conversations with Humber Bridge Board.
Well, it could be any of these places.
Any of these two locations.
But when? When would it?
When is June or July? Okay. The main reason for that is the good old British weather. We're aiming at having a sunny day as opposed to a day where we lie the shoes out and suddenly it rains and they're all destroyed.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're aiming at a summer's day.
Any old shoes welcome?
Any old shoes, yeah. Anything from children's shoes to adult shoes, slippers, things with laces, things with stiletto heels. Whatever you've got, any condition as well, that's what we're looking for.
James, I think you're chasing after a few celebrity pairs.
Oh yes, we want any celebrities who'd be willing to donate a pair of signed shoes. So at the end of the event, we could perhaps auction them off to raise money, which all goes to a good cause.
You've got, well, I know you've got a personal connection with Lady Gaga for a start.
That's not a personal connection, it's a Twitter connection. And I've emailed her to see if perhaps she will donate.
Okay, not shoes made out of meat though, I hope.
Well, let's hope not.
Particularly on a sunny day. What will happen to the shoes afterwards?
There'll be no wastage, that's a key message to get out. Our main aim is obviously our service users in Hull, generally a certain age and sort of build, so size 8, 9, 10s, we'll take a prime cut off. The other items will go to other charities, either as straight donations, or we can get things weighed in as well. So again, monetary funds from those weigh-ins would go to other charities.
Excellent. Okay, please don't go away. We'll come back after the break and we'll talk about how people can get involved a little bit more, because it's not just about, it's raising awareness as much as it is raising money. Anyway, we'll come back in a moment and talk about how people can get involved, where and when it's going to be, and how to provide shoes, I suppose.
Yeah. Super.
Thanks very much. Stay with us. As coming up after the break, we have another dog looking for a good home, and Dan Kemp will be bringing you the headlines from around the region. Welcome back. You're watching Estuary News. Still to come, we have another dog looking for a good home, and Dan Kemp will be bringing you all the headlines from around our region. My guests, Gavin Hudson and James Bowie, are still with me from Hull Homeless Outreach. James, you were involved in the foundation of this charity. What prompted you to start it?
Myself and my friend had noticed a lot of social media posts about homeless situation throughout the world. And we just thought to ourselves, I wonder what the situation is like here in Hull. So we decided to load the van up with clothes, sleeping bags, blankets, flasks of tea and coffee and some sandwiches, and we'd go into town and start looking around for homeless people. We found a few, and within an hour we had a large queue of people at the van. We were handing out to, and we learnt a lot that day. We were quite shocked by the situation. So we decided we had to do more. So from there we set up street kitchens and started having the homeless people meet us in certain spots. And we would give them clothes and fresh sleeping bags. We'd feed them, give them hot drinks. But most of all, we'd let them socialise and give them conversation, give them a listening ear and make them feel human once more.
Because it's extremely isolating.
It is.
Not to have a home.
That's right. But since then it's grown from strength to strength. We now have a fantastic team who are constantly on the go and finding homeless people and going to ensure they're signposted to the correct, relevant agencies that can help them.
And Gavin, homelessness, we think of people maybe just sleeping on the streets, but it's not just street sleepers.
It's not, no, and James gave a great example in conversation earlier about it's people who in effect don't have their own home to go to for whatever circumstances. They don't have the key to their own front door, so there could be sofa surfing, there could be in hostels, and there are a few out there, as say, who have those real issues, who are sleeping on the streets. But it's that collective homelessness. That's how this group sort of treat those individuals.
James, we've talked about the problem of homelessness on this programme and elsewhere on Estuary TV quite a lot recently. Is it a bigger problem in Hull than it is maybe in other places in the UK?
No, it's a growing problem throughout the UK, and it's a growing problem in Hull. The numbers keep rising. So it's an ongoing issue that really needs for local government and central government to start taking seriously and facing head on.
Why do the numbers keep rising?
I think today, mostly because of benefit sanctions, that's making a huge impact on the numbers. But I think people are being driven more into poverty now and finding themselves in a situation where they've got no other choice but to become homeless.
And there just aren't enough homes?
No, that's right.
There are more people than there are rooms to put them in?
That is correct.
Okay, let's get back to this rather more cheerful subject of the record-breaking line of shoes. I have to say, I hope it's on the Humber Bridge, because that would look absolutely fantastic, stretching across the bridge. How can people provide you with shoes, Gavin?
Probably the thing we'd be asking for today is we have a social media presence. So the main thing is we have a Facebook page and we have an event called A Day in My Shoes, and that's the whole campaign is referred to as that. We're also on Twitter as A Day in My Shoe 16, so people at this moment in time can contact us and keep in touch with the event on there. We're creating a number of drop-off locations across the region, and again, those are published on the Facebook page, and we're asking people to probably keep in touch with that and contact us through that page.
Excellent. Sounds absolutely fantastic. Well, so we've got one moment left. Is that you've got a concert going on tomorrow night as well?
Tomorrow night at St Mary's Church on Bowgate in Hull. That's to raise funds for Hull Homeless Outreach and St Mary's Church. And it's also to raise awareness for the homeless issues.
That's folk music?
It's folk music. There's a few different genres there, I think. There's 4 artists. They've all got a huge following.
Okay.
The local artists.
And people can just go to the venue on the night
pay on
tomorrow
the door
night?
or buy tickets through the box office.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, gentlemen, very much, and good luck with all those shoes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Time now for another dog looking for a good home in our feature Dog of the Week.
Dog number 134 is Max, born in 2012. He's castrated, very well behaved, likes a good long walk.
And joining me now to talk us through what's been happening in the region's headlines, Dan Kemp. Dan, how are you?
Good evening. How are you, Hugh? I'm all right, thank you.
Very well, thank you. What have you found?
Well, the first story, this is in the Hull Daily Mail, and this is, obviously we've been hearing about a gas leak that's occurred in West Hull, and they're now going through the 3rd day of attempts to cut off everyone's gas supply and make sure they fix the problem, because people are still without it at the minute. On Tuesday, the gas supply was cut off after a burst water main leaked into gas pipes, which of course is bad in itself, but now temperatures going down to -2, which is I think what they were last night. Now, obviously, when that freezes, it's going to cause all sorts of other problems. So to resolve that issue, the gas board have been breaking into people's properties when they've not been able to gain access. This is Northern Gas Networks who are the people doing it, because they have been allowed to break into people's properties and replace the locks when they've done and switch the gas off.
Interesting.
Which is interesting.
A private company is entitled to break into property.
Humberside Police.
With Humberside
With
Police.
Humberside Police,
but
yes.
essentially commit a trespass, which is a tort, not a crime, and yet, but what is this? Sort of a greater good argument rather than ice breaking gas pipes open and blowing the place up.
Some of the consequences would be significantly worse than finding out your house had been broken into, but obviously it's for the greater good.
Let's hope they wipe their feet before they go in.
And that. Right, the next story, this is in the Grimsby Telegraph, and this is that Labour have announced their candidates for May's local council elections in North East Lincolnshire. Of course, they want to remain the largest party and in control of the council. They currently hold 19 of the 42 seats, and obviously no party has overall control. And they've got 8 more seats in the Conservative. So we've got a list here of some of the bigger names in the council that will be going forward for it. The current mayor, Cliff Barber, he's going to defend his Freshney ward, or attempt to. David Watson, who's portfolio holder for environment and tourism. Ros James of Heneage ward, and of course council leader Ray Oxby and his deputy Jane Hilden King as well. All amongst the people that are going to be fighting out in May, and I'm sure we'll be doing something.
We certainly will. We
on
enjoy
the event.
We love an election here. Yeah,
we do. And I've got a list of some of the other people in the different areas.
They'll
be covering as well if you want to know.
They'll be available, I guess, on the Labour Party website for North East Lincolnshire.
I'm sure they will.
And the other parties will be declaring their candidates, within the next few weeks, I guess?
You would have thought so, yeah.
Okay.
Within the next couple of weeks, obviously, they need to be up and running, ready to fight their campaigns.
Absolutely. Look forward to that. We like a bit of politics.
Sort of your thing, isn't it?
It is. I love it.
Right, the next story. This is in the Beverley Guardian, and this is a sports story, and this is horse racing. And it's hit 6 million spectators for the first time since 2011.
Excellent. So the horse racing industry is thriving.
It's thriving. It's obviously the report's saying that things like the Rugby World Cup last year, the Ashes, things like that in cricket, but they've not managed to kind of turn people away from horse racing, that people are still attending and watching on TV as well.
Well, we have 2 of the most beautiful racecourses in the country in our region. We have Beverley and Market Raisin.
Have you been to either of them?
I've been to both of them. I am a gentleman of the turf, Dan. I
thought you might be.
I love a day's racing. I don't know. It's really just an excuse to buy Caribbean holidays for bookmakers, as far as I'm concerned.
I think so.
I've never made any money.
Never have any success, no. I've been to Beverley a few times, and obviously I think that's a wonderful race course, really nice setting. I've not been to Market Rasen.
Well worth it, though.
I've been past it, and I know it looks very nice.
Okay, one more story, I think, Dan.
Yeah, and obviously I will just say on the back of that, they've hit highest average attendances since 2007 as well, and they are putting it down to the Tony McCoy effect, because his farewell tour last year.
Yes.
So they think that might have
very charismatic jockey.
Forward a little bit of interest.
And I've only ever bet on him under very few times where he's lost.
Most of the Grand Nationals then.
I guess that's why they call it gambling. One more story.
Yeah, this is another horse story, but on the other side of the coin, and this is that RSPCA are appealing for owners of 4 horses which were removed from Albert Chaplin Fields in Bridlington. The Humberside Police had to take them away after the police closed.
Their owners to get in touch with Humberside Police or the RSPCA.
Of course, yeah.
Dan, thank you very much, because you're about to be in another place, because it's now time for the sports as if by magic with Dan.
Bye as long as. Grimsby Town boss Paul Hurst hopes the Mariners' trip to Aldershot on March the 1st can be rescheduled. It comes after Grimsby's match against Forest Green Rovers was brought forward to Friday the 4th of March, so it can be broadcast live on TV. Hurst has told the Grimsby Telegraph he has sympathy for the fans that will be inconvenienced by the switch, but says that the travel time between games and player fatigue make the current schedule unsustainable. North Ferriby United have some injury concerns ahead of the weekend. National League North's second top goal scorer Liam King is amongst the doubts, but assistant manager Mark Carroll is hopeful they'll come through training ahead of the trip to Worcester.
We've got a couple of sort of minor knocks. There was sort of Tom Denton had to come off Saturday. He didn't train on Tuesday. Liam King was carrying a little bit. He didn't train Tuesday. Did a little bit of the warm-up. Russ Fry was out on Tuesday. So, but hopefully we've got a training session tonight and we'll see how they come through it. But there's nothing major. I mean, Danny Owen was on the bench for the first time on Saturday as well. So fingers crossed we'll have a fully fit squad to choose from.
And finally, Estuary TV will be broadcasting live rugby union for the first time on Saturday. Hollensians host Bridlington at Springhead Lane, Allenby Common. The programme will be live from 1:30. And that's all your sport for now. You can get in touch with a story in the usual ways by calling 01472 31553, emailing sport@estuary.tv, or by finding for us on Facebook or Twitter. Bye for now.
And that's it for tonight. If you do have a news story for us, then please visit our Facebook or Twitter pages, email news@estuary.tv, or phone 01472 31553. Until tomorrow, good evening.
Hello and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. On Friday you can expect gales, spells of heavy showers during the morning, then sunny with more isolated showers, highs of 11 degrees. On Saturday it'll be very windy and cold with bright spells and occasional wintry showers.